Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Football Betting Podcast with me, Tom Pipkin, and my co host, Tom Walker. And it is an extra special episode of the pod today because it is our birthday. Happy birthday,
Woo.
Tom. Hey. We are, as ever, going to go through the top four English football leagues: the Premier League, the Championship, League One, and League Two, picking out our betting highlights from each one. We're sponsored by good friends at matchbook.com. You can bag yourself a juicy sign up bonus, £30 back as a free bet if your bet loses. That's using the sign up code TFB podcast upon registration. How you doing then, Tom? Anyway, ready for
Good,
a
mate.
good weekend of football?
Yeah, I'm feeling reflective, looking back on 6 years of podding. Like
Mm.
I'll read out, I'll reform a tweet that I tweeted out, and I think it sums us up pretty well. Like I described us as the Real Oviedo of the podcast world. Like, so we're not the biggest pod. That's Barcelona. That's Real Madrid. But we were the first. I'm
Oh, yeah.
pretty sure that we were the first. We were knocking it down. First episode, February 2017. That's
Yeah.
that's when it goes back. So, yeah, I think we're Real Oviedo of the pod world.
Yeah, I thought it would be interesting just to go back to our first few recordings and have a little listen to a couple of minutes. Crikey, we've come a long way.
We've come a
the
long way.
sound,
And,
the sound quality, it had like a
yeah,
droning beep in the background of the recording.
and a
Like,
whistle, and a
yeah,
whistle. Like
yeah, yeah.
it sounded like it sounded like the kettle was going off for an hour.
Yeah, so if we have anyone who still follows us from the early days back in 2017, thank you for your patience and sticking with us. Um, but yeah, far cry from our humble beginnings with me, you, and my dad who listened to it.
Yeah, yeah. Now we're on video. Now we've had great sponsors, and we've got one at the moment in Matchbook, and we've grown to a really good spot where we're responsible now for putting out a show every week that people look forward to. I know how I feel about other podcasts I listen to. I can't wait for it to drop, and it's nice to know that there are some people out there who literally can't wait for our pod to drop. Like that's pretty nice, and yeah, I'm feeling nice and reflective, and also I'm feeling pretty bitter as well because we lost the pod treble by one leg last week, and then I thought, okay, we'll have a look at the docket this week and see if we can get back at it. There's stuff out there, but it's again a bit of a tough one, I think.
I think it's not too bad. Like in every league, there's something for me.
Yeah, there's two or three in every league, but I'm harking back to the days where we all absolutely cashed in on the Forest Leicester, Brighton Liverpool, Man U
Yeah.
Man City weekend. I'm harking back to that and just praying that docket's going to come up again because that was extremely lucrative. But anyway, we're digging into some tip time, Tom. So let's go Premier League, shall we?
Yeah, let's go Premier League. All the odds we're going to read out on the show today are taken from matchbook.com. We're going to go through each Premier League game by game. Then we'll look through the best bets from the Champ, League One, and League Two. So, yeah, taking it away with West Ham against Chelsea. This is 12:30 on Saturday. 3.5 for the Hammers, 3.45 for the draw, 2.32 for Chelsea. Chelsea still struggling for wins. On the positive side, they have kept 3 clean sheets in a row. The last 2 games being 0-0s against Fulham and Liverpool. And West Ham starting to turn things around a little bit. 3 wins in their last 5, just 1 defeat. Are you brave enough to call this one?
Yeah, I've got something I like. It's not result based, but
Mm.
it's under 2.5. I think these are two teams who are still trying to find their feet. Obviously, Chelsea, even before the January window, were struggling and trying to find who they are, what system they want to play, who they can trust, blah blah blah. And West Ham, yes, they have picked it up, but I'm still not ready to start backing them like they're a top 7 team or whatever. Chelsea haven't won any of the last 7 away games in the league, and you're right to point out those clean sheets, Tom. They've actually only scored in 2 of their last 6 games, Chelsea, and they've been relatively decent at the back, as you said. It's actually those 3 clean sheets in the last 6 that I was leaning on that you mentioned. And West Ham, they've gone under 2.5 in their last 5 games. A couple of them have just gone under with 2 goals, but I'm expecting this one to be a tight affair with no more than 2.5 goals.
Yeah, I can completely see that one. Moving into Arsenal against Brentford then for the first of the 3 o'clockers. 1.44 for Arsenal, 5.1 for the draw, and 8.8 Brentford. Big outsiders for this one. Obviously, Arsenal shocked by Everton when they lost 1-0 last weekend. First defeat in a long, long time for them. Can they get back to it this week?
Yeah, they can. What were they? 1.4 was it?
4-4, 1.44.
Yeah, 4-4. It's a bit too tight. I don't like going against Brentford in general, to be honest. And even if you have a look at Arsenal's last couple of home games in the Premier League where they have got a victory, they have conceded. They conceded that 2 to Man United. They conceded 1 to Arsenal. So I'm having a look at Arsenal, and yes. So Arsenal to win and both teams to score at 3.5. I can see Brentford finding the back of the net, but ultimately Arsenal should put the last 2 defeats behind them and continue on.
Yeah, you've gone a bit braver than I have. I just went for the both teams to score on straight out, which is 2.04. And considering the stats that you said, where Arsenal have been conceding a fair few at home, despite the fact that they're winning, and Brentford obviously in good run of form, more than capable of scoring, I thought that was a decent price at over evens for just both teams to score.
Yeah, totally agree.
Into the next game then, which for me is another both teams to score. It's Palace against Brighton. So 4.0 for Palace to win, 3.65 for the draw, and 2.08 for Brighton. Contrasting forms really here. Brighton no losses in 6, and Palace no wins in 6. I've gone for the both teams to score based on the fact that both teams have scored in 9 of the last 10 meetings between these two sides. So this is a rivalry. Can't remember the name of it. The M something.
The Birds. I don't know. I just think it's the Bird Derby. Eagles against Eagles.
Yeah, I like that. It's 1.88 anyway for both teams to score, which again I thought was a pretty decent price considering, like I say, nine out of the last 10 games have been both teams to score. Brighton having kept a clean sheet for 10 consecutive games against Crystal Palace. Palace haven't kept a clean sheet for 4 consecutive games against Brighton. Palace are also unbeaten in 6 consecutive fixtures between the two. And considering it is a little derby game, 4.0 for Palace is quite a big price considering they're at home. I know they're not on form, but as the saying goes, form goes out the window in the derby matches, right?
Woo, woo, woo. That's my Premier League price of the weekend klaxon. That's just gone off. Brand new to the pod this week. Will never return again. Brighton for me. I'm deeply concerned about Palace. I don't think there's enough being said about how poor they've been, to be honest with you. Yeah, I know they've got home draws against Newcastle and Man United, but also, before that they lost at home to Southampton. That for me is a red flag. I understand that people are looking at them losing away at Man U 2-1 and thinking, oh, they kept it close. I'm deeply concerned about the performance levels. I wish Brighton were a little bit more on it. I'm also thinking that they've dipped ever so slightly, but I think Brighton come here with their tails up. Palace really struggling at the moment to kind of get too much going. The last time that they scored, Tom, more than 1 in a game was 6 games ago. That's when they beat Bournemouth 2-0. And then before that, you have to go back before the World Cup the last time they scored 2. That was in the Cup against Newcastle, and then previously before that against West Ham in the league. They're very goal shy. I'm back in Brighton, and my Premier League price of the weekend at 2.08. I'm already on.
Nice. Just to push my agenda for both teams to score one more time. Brighton have conceded in 10 of the last 11 away games across all competitions. The only clean sheet was in the EFL Cup against Charlton. And before that, you have to go all the way back to the 24th of August for their last clean sheet across all competitions. The last clean sheet away from home in the Premier League came on the 21st of August. So
That is
that's a long
concerning.
run.
That is
Yeah.
concerning, but I don't think De Zerbi cares, if I'm honest with you.
No. They could easily win 2-1, 3-1,
Yeah.
4-1.
I think in an ideal world, I'd be back in Brighton off the back of 4 clean sheets in a row, but I just honestly don't think he gives a monkeys. Well, he
um,
would like to point it out, and I think both teams to score is very smart.
yeah. Okay, Fulham Forest then up next, 1.98 for Fulham, 3.7 for the draw, and 4.4 for the Mighty Reds to get another 3 points on the road. I said that like we get a lot of them. We don't get many of them whatsoever.
No.
How can you see this one going?
An under 2.5 for me at 1.86. I think it's a really weird one, and it's difficult to pick a top performer. You've obviously got Fulham riding that kind of 8th position, and kind of being in the conversation, rightly or wrongly, for Europe. And then you've got Forest, who are clearly brilliant at home and clearly much improved. But you're still looking at a team that's won 1 in 10 games on the road. I mean, form this season, I think everyone has seen the table so far. Forest, the best performing team in 2023 so far in the Premier League. I just don't know which way this is going to go. I feel like Fulham are dipping ever so slightly. I feel like Mitro might not be as potent as he was at the start of the season, and there's a few things that I'm a bit concerned about from a Fulham aspect. But I need to see way more from Forest away from home before I start going ahead and backing them at 4.2. Obviously, I will because I'm a fan and that's just who I am. But in terms of tipping them and reading them out on the show, I need to see way more, Tom. One thing I am guaranteeing, though, is Forest to be tight. Very, very tight.
Yeah.
They've only conceded 1 in their last 4 Premier League games. That was away at Bournemouth. They are incredibly well drilled now. They've got a settled back line, even without without Dean Henderson. Keylor Navas has come in, man of the match on debut. And yeah, Fulham, just not sure they're as swashbuckling as everyone thinks they are. In the league, they've actually not scored in their last 3 games. So it's in the FA Cup where they're finding their feet at the moment against teams like Sunderland. So, yeah, but under 2.5 for me. What about you?
Forest double chance I was looking at because I'm confident, but that's probably more of a heart over head pick, really. Yeah, I just feel like we're very tough to beat, aren't we, at the moment? And the times when we don't play the top 6, 7 sides in this division, we tend to do pretty well. So yeah, I think we can get, if we come away with a point, I'm happy with that. I think we definitely can do. We've got good form away at Craven Cottage as well. Won
Oh,
there
we
in
yeah. I remember under Sabri, we absolutely took him to pieces. And
yeah,
then, last season in that huge crunch game, we scored that really weird Zinkernagel goal. 1-1
yeah,
nil.
1-0, didn't we? Yeah. Well, anyway, up next we've got Leicester against Spurs. Prices for this one: Leicester to win at 3.55, the draw at 3.75, and Spurs at 2.22. I'm going to go for over 2.5 in this one because I can't work out either of these two sides at the moment. At the moment, Spurs look pretty good. Obviously, they've won 3 in a row. They beat Man City at home last weekend. But I feel like whenever I get a bit too confident on Spurs and start to back them, they throw a wobbly. And and lose. And then Leicester coming from behind to beat Villa 4-2 away from home. Excellent return to form for them. James Maddison back in the side, back on the score sheet. So they could definitely get something from this game. So I think there's going to be goals. I think there's going to be entertainment. Don't know which way it's going to go. 9 of the last 11 games between the two sides have been over 2.5. So yeah, over 2.5 again is 1.79. There's been some absolute humdingers between these two, by the way. If you look at the head-to-head list, I'm not going to read it all out, but since 2017, there's been some crackers. I'm talking just picking out a few. 6-2, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2, 6-1, 5-4, 3-0, 3-1. There's some absolute games in here.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I was looking at Leicester at the back, and I know they won 4-2, but I thought defensively they were absolutely horrendous against Villa. Just Villa were even worse. You have to go back. Their last Premier League clean sheet was the 12th of November. Little asterisk because that was against West Ham when they were really in the mire. Before that, you have to go back against Everton under Lampard in the mire. Before that, you can go back to Wolves in the mire. You can go against Leeds, poor all season, and Palace, and that's it. So they've not kept a clean sheet against anyone kind of in that top half or above, really. So yeah, I'm totally with you on that, mate. Bit of a goal fest.
Yeah. Right then, final 3 o'clock, Southampton against Wolves, 3.0 for the Saints, 3.3 for the draw, and 2.68 for Wolves. Yeah, give me a take on this one.
Yeah, I think we got to be looking at Wolves to get a result. I like them to get the double chance up, but also I think I'm brave enough to go for them on the nose. I don't know if I've ever seen a managerial appointment go so sour so quick. To be honest, Nathan Jones is an interesting character. He divides opinion, of course. I actually feel really sorry for him because I said on the pod before, I'm a big believer in the pyramid of, League Two to League One to the Champ to the Prem. Like I want to see more of that stuff, and I feel like this appointment might actually stop clubs looking at really good performing EFL managers and do what Wolves have done and go out and get someone from the continent in Lopetegui and throw the bank at him because clearly you look at the two managers and the impact they've had and there's no arguments really. So that does worry me, but that's just how I think. Yeah, I'd probably go for Wolves double chance, but fortune favours the brave, and I think we can get them on the nose.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we were talking before we came on air, weren't we, about who we want to pick for the treble. Wolves came up in the conversation. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I'm confident in Wolves. I really am. And I mentioned to you, and I'll say it again, that I feel like there's going to be a bad atmosphere at St. Mary's for this. The fans do not want Nathan Jones as manager of their club. And I feel like if Wolves go a goal up, it's going to turn really toxic in that place. The fans will they're turned already, but they're really going to make it a hostile, horrible atmosphere for Nathan Jones and consequently the players if they do go a goal down. Southampton had the worst home record in the league anyway. They've won just 1 of the last 10 home games they've played so far in the Premier League this season, conceding nearly 2 per home game. And yeah, like you say, Wolves on the up under Lopetegui, Southampton in a mess. For me, 2.68 for Wolves could be an excellent price this weekend.
There was no Forest, obviously, on Saturday last week. They played Sunday. So just flicked on the Premier League and thought, maybe I'll watch the Wolves Liverpool game. The Wolves were outstanding, to be honest with you. They were brilliant. I mean, they were playing against, basically a bunch of pedestrians in Liverpool, but they were really good. So, yeah, I have confidence in them and think they'll get the win at a very healthy price. Did you read the price out?
I did.
Did I miss it?
Yeah.
2.68.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did it twice.
Oh, bloody hell.
Right. Final game then on Saturday, and again it features another one of the strugglers at the bottom. So this is Bournemouth against Newcastle. 7.0 for Bournemouth to win at home, 4.2 for the draw, and 1.6 for Newcastle. Yeah, like Southampton, I feel like there's quite a few sides at the moment near the bottom who are starting to improve and pick up points. And Bournemouth, along with Southampton, are the two who are really going to get left behind if they don't turn their form around sharpish, because Bournemouth no wins in 8 consecutive games, no clean sheets in 8 consecutive games, and they've got a tough run coming up. And yeah, starting with Newcastle, I don't expect them to win this game. I don't think they'll stay up, and yeah, for me, they're done. They're not really showing anything like they're going to be all right, because you're looking at their fixtures to come. They've got Newcastle this weekend. They're away at Wolves, which is a tough game next weekend. Then after that, they've got Man City. Then after that, they've got Arsenal. So these next 4 games, I don't think Bournemouth will get any points personally. And the way other teams around them are playing, they could start to find themselves cut adrift in this relegation zone now.
Yeah, they've obviously made some big January additions. Watched Utara against Forest. I mentioned it last week. Really, really exciting player. Brilliant debut. Semenyo, big fan from Bristol City. Zabarny, the Ukrainian centre half, is supposed to be like a football manager wonder kid. But, yeah, again, kind of like Nathan Jones, you have a look around at who all the relegation teams have got in at the dugout. And Bournemouth have the worst manager, I think, by an absolute distance. And yeah, I have no faith in him getting one over on former Bournemouth manager Eddie Howe. Yeah, I'm fancying Newcastle to get back to winning ways and get back to winning ways pretty comfortably. But 1.6, that's tight, isn't it?
But Sunday, then, we are going to look at first Leeds against Manchester United. 4.1 for Leeds, 4.0 for the draw, 1.92 for Man U. These two played out a 2-2 draw, entertaining 2-2 draw on Wednesday night, just before we started recording the pod. They meet in the reverse fixture on Sunday. I don't really know, to be honest. I would have quite happily said Manchester United before Marsh got sacked and they got that 2-2 at Old Trafford. It's throwing a bit of doubt into my mind, to be honest.
Yes, it has thrown a bit of doubt into my mind, and I think I'm still going to back United. 1 what are they? 1.92 is a really good price. Leeds as well, 4.1. Honestly, I might have a little tipple on both sides of the coin, which is not something that makes a ton of sense, but maybe I'll do it in a particular way. Maybe I'll chuck United on an accumulator or something like that. Both teams to score for me. A recap and repeat of Wednesday night looks likely. Marcus Rashford is absolutely unstoppable at the moment, and even against Nottingham Forest, Tom, when Leeds failed to score on the weekend, Nanto, Sinistera, they caused issues. They had some chances in the first half, and I do like their attacking options. So yeah, I'm going to go down that both teams to score route for the safe money. Man United on some kind of accumulator, and probably I'll chuck a little bit of money on Leeds as a single for a bit of fun.
Yeah, well, hopefully Leeds don't get any points for the sake of Forest and the relegation battle, but we'll see. Anyway, on to the final Sunday game. We've only got 2. Manchester City at home to Aston Villa. 1.27 for City, 7.0 for the draw, and 13.5 for Villa. Man City are so short. They're way too short for me to back on the nose. I'm going to look at both teams to score. 6 of the last 7 games between these two sides have been both teams to score. We've seen how frail Villa can be at the back last weekend when they conceded 4 against Leicester. And yeah, Man City, like I say, not exactly in a sparkling run of form at the moment. They've conceded in 4 of their last 6 games. So yeah, both teams to score. 2.08 is the price for that one, and that's where I'll be going for this.
Yeah, totally agree. It is tempting to have a look at Villa at 13.5. I do
Mhm.
love a big outsider. I'm not going to lie to you, but yeah, I think the smart money is on both teams to score because you got to be a madman to be back in Man City at the moment on that
Well,
1.27.
I tell you now, mate, the big upset's coming next weekend when Man City visit the mighty City ground.
Yes. Hey,
Fortress City ground.
by the way, speaking of upsets, let's talk about Monday night. Introduce Monday night because I'm excited.
Well, plenty to unpack in this particular game, isn't there? It's the Merseyside derby. It's Liverpool against Everton. It's a Monday, 8 p.m. kickoff. Liverpool heavy favourites, 1.56, 4.5 for the draw, and 6.8 for Everton. I keep reading the headline Liverpool are at rock bottom. I feel like they've been at rock bottom, we say in air quotes, about 4 or 5 times this season after dodgy results, but
Yeah.
they keep finding new lows. Um, Everton, a fantastic win in Dyche's first game in charge last weekend against Arsenal. Honestly, if I was going to go anything, I'd go for Everton at a massive price of 6.8. I could absolutely see them doing a job on Liverpool. When I say doing a job, I don't mean battering them, but, coming away with a 1-0 or a 2-1 or something like that. I could 100% see it.
Liverpool are in an absolute tailspin. It's really, really bad. Their last 7 results: lost away at Brentford, drew at home to Wolves, lost away at Brighton 3-0, beat Wolves away in the FA Cup, rotated sides, 0-0 against Chelsea, arguably the worst game of football to ever have been broadcast.
Mhm.
Brighton 2-1 defeat away, Wolves 3-0 defeat away. Yeah, we're basing this tip on one game under Sean Dyche where they've managed to sit in the block, keep them out, nick a goal, get a win. Right. So I think I will be having a tip on Everton at 6, but also I think double chance is probably the smarter way to play. At
Yeah.
2.56, it's still way over evens. If you're Sean Dyche, think about what you're going to do here. So first of all, you've beaten Arsenal. You've got a bit of breathing room. This game is a bit more of a free hit as opposed to they lost 4-0 last week. So he's going to go there and defend, but he's going to go there with a bit more of an attacking mindset. And I think he's going to be fully aware that the pressure's on Liverpool here. Like, Liverpool haven't lost in the last 6 games at Anfield, but as I just read out, there's been some draws, there's been some really dodgy results. Away from home, if this was at Goodison Park, I'd be absolutely lapping up Everton. The fact is that Anfield makes me want to go more towards double chance, but yeah, Liverpool are in an absolute shambles, and this is probably the last thing they need.
Yeah, completely. One other thing that I'd add is just onto what you've put, slightly shorter price, but Liverpool to keep a clean sheet, no. Um, that's 1.61. They've only kept one clean sheet in their last 10 Premier League matches, which is very, very poor. So, yeah, I think everything, I feel really confident, probably like, unnecessarily confident, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I really think Everton will get something from this game. I think they'll win. I think
Yeah,
they'll win.
yeah, and I will be following you into battle.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's the Prem wrapped up. Let's just touch on our sponsors at Matchbook, and again how you can bag that sign up bonus, and then we'll look at the Championship, League One, and League Two.
Yeah, Profit Chasers, it's a great time to get involved with our sponsors, Matchbook. They are offering a exclusive sign-up offer for all of our listeners and viewers. So TFB Podcast as a sign-up code is going to bag you a money back as a free bet offer up to 30 quid. Obviously, the whole show in general and this offer in particular is eligible for over 18s only. Read the T's and C's, but yeah, jump on board. Have a little tip on Everton if you're feeling a bit brave and you want a safety net. Sign up and you'll get that money back as a free bet.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Let's move into the Championship then. Do you want to get us kicked off with? One that you particularly like the look of?
Yeah, 1.54. Burnley.
Mm.
Uh, what much more is there to say?
Give them the title already.
They're top of the league. They're going to win the league. They're going to get promoted. They are one of the best championship teams I've ever seen. They are unbeaten at home, winning 11, drawing 4. They've not lost in their last 9. They've not lost in any of the last 17 home matches. Blah, blah, blah. I haven't even told you who they're playing. It wouldn't matter to me. I would back them against anyone at home. Of course, they're a little bit shorter than what we'd like to see, but I think this is with good reason. 1.54, and for context, they are playing against Preston. Preston much better away from home than at home. They are absolutely dreadful at home. 3 wins from 15 games at Deepdale. It's obviously much better away from home where they've won 8 of 14. And this is a Lancashire derby. And, insert cliche, form goes out the window, derby days, yada yada. Not this time. Burnley win and Burnley win. Burnley take another step towards the Premier League.
Yes, I completely agree. Be a massive coupon buster if they didn't win this particular game. On to one that I like at a big price. It's 3.35 and it's Luton Town. And yeah, it's the Rob Edwards effect for Luton. They've won 6 of the last 7 games in the league since he's taken charge of them, including the last 3 consecutive away games. They go away this weekend to Coventry, and they're a team in pretty poor form, to be honest. A lot of general, not really unrest about the team, but yeah, I think a lot of Coventry fans that I see on social media are just ready for the season to end and to start again in September or August. They've lost 4 of the last 5 games, won just 1 in 8 across all competitions, and it's going to be a fairly big ask, I think, for them this weekend to beat this inform Luton side, they're on a march. They're 4th in the league. If they win their game in hand on Sheffield United, they'll only be 7 points behind second, and that's not a completely insurmountable job with 16, 17 games left to go. So they'll be aiming high. They're on fantastic form, and they're a big price.
They are. I'm going to be next talking about Middlesbrough, who are above evens at 2.16. They're away at Cardiff. Until Sabri, I was never happy. Sabri Lamouchi, the former Forest manager, takes up a post at Cardiff, at the Cardiff City Stadium for the first time. But I think he's going to lose, to be honest with you. He hasn't seen his team score a goal yet. They've had some difficult games. Hull, Luton, both on the road. This is an opportunity for him to go out there and endear himself to the fan base. But I think it's just the wrong opponent at the wrong time, to be honest with you. Middlesbrough have been great. I think it's well documented, and everyone has kind of seen all the stats about how well Michael Carrick is doing. He's obviously a big name in English football, so he's getting a lot of plaudits, and he's going away to a side who haven't won in their last 11 games, Cardiff. That's how long it's been since they've tasted defeat, hence the managerial change. And yeah, I think Middlesbrough will be way too strong. They've got the informed striker in the league in Chuba Akpom, and they've got so many attacking talents. Archer, Force, they are a playoff juggernaut at the moment. In third, 10 points off Sheffield United in second, having played a game more. Never say never, because they're on absolutely sparkling form at the moment, and they're going to have too much for Cardiff. Cardiff's season won't be decided against Middlesbrough. They've got bigger games to come.
Yeah, completely agree. But yeah, poor old Sabri. I really want him to do well at Cardiff, but I really don't think that they're equipped for him to do so.
He was the best thing that happened to Forest in a decade.
Yeah.
It's quickly forgotten now because obviously Cooper took that and blew it up basically. But until Sabri, honestly, it was some of the darkest days of supporting Forest, and he was the first manager that gave us hope, like
Yeah,
in a full decade. So love
yeah,
Sabri.
yeah. Completely echo that. Right, up next then for me, none in the championship actually. I
See,
don't know about you.
see, I think you've missed a glaring one here. Uh, Sheffield United. I don't know why we're not discussing this more. Um, Sheffield United's, as I said, second, and they've got a bit of a job to do to fend off Middlesbrough. As I said, I don't think they are, the kind of Premier League in waiting that Burnley are. But I think second is there for the taking. Obviously, a 10-point gap with an extra game. They're playing against a Swansea team who I think the project is falling apart a bit, to be honest with you. Russell
Mm.
Martin's come in. He's managed to get them from mid-table to mid-table. There's a lot of hashtag trust the process, and I do believe that it does take time to introduce like a full 180 culture change at a club, something like Martin's trying to do. But it seems a lot of unrest at board level between them and the fans. Seems like the fans feel like they're not backing Russell Martin. Russell Martin feels like his hands are tied. Michael Obafemi, someone I tipped up to be championship top goal scorer at the start of the season, he's been farmed out on loan to Burnley. It's just, they're just not helping themselves at all. Away from home, they've actually been brilliant this season. 4 wins, 7 draws, 4 defeats. That's fantastic. They've avoided defeat, 11 out of 15 times. Like they are very sticky on the road. But I think this is a huge task. I rate Sheffield United highly. They are coming off that highly charged clash against Wrexham in midweek. That would have took a lot of energy out of them. But they're facing a team in Swansea that lost 4-3 against Birmingham at home on the weekend, and they were flying high, a couple of goals clear before they let the Blues back into it, and it's just dour times, I think, at Swansea, and yeah, I fancy them to come unstuck against Sheffield United. They are priced up at 1.91. It's a brilliant price.
I feel like I've not backed a team who are second in the championship as much as I've not backed Sheffield United, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
I feel like I've hardly been chucking them on accumulators at all this season, even though they're obviously doing well and they've been winning because they're in second and they're clear. But yeah, whereas Burnley, I could happily chuck them on every single week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sheffield United, I always hold a little bit more skepticism and I'm a bit more reserved about, but probably shouldn't be because they're doing very well. And like you say, they'll probably win this weekend. So yeah, I'll jump on board for this weekend. Let's see how it goes.
Okay.
League One.
League One, take it away, mate.
There's a couple I like in League One that are decent prices actually. I'll get kicked off with Morecambe at home to Forest Green Rovers. Now, Big Dunk's come into Forest Green, hasn't he? He's had no managerial bounce whatsoever at the moment. Played 2, lost 2 is his current record. Forest Green on a poor run. They've lost 5 in a row across all competitions. If we extend that to just the league, they've lost 8 of the last 9 league games, finding goals really hard to come by, conceding plenty. And this week, they go away to Juggernaut Morecambe. Morecambe they've won 4 consecutive home games, including scoring 5 goals twice in the last 3 matches at home against Bristol Rovers and Burton Albion. They've not lost at home since they lost to Ipswich on the 8th of October. That's an 8-game unbeaten run since then, winning 5, drawing 3. Yeah, and I think they're going to obviously face this Forest Green Rovers side at home, full of confidence, and Forest Green are coming into this sapped of confidence, despite the new manager. It just doesn't seem to be working or have had any effect. So yeah, for me, Morecambe to get a win at a good price of 2.28.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to have a look at Shrewsbury. So I am there's a little caveat here. So they're 2.37 to beat Port Vale. Little caveat. I don't think this is going to last forever. The Shrewsbury revolution, where they're ninth and they're starting to look at the playoffs. I think they've just beaten some bad teams, and they've just had bad teams back to back to back to back to back, and there's nothing wrong with that. They have to beat what's in front of them. It's just I think it's a bit fortunate that they're playing all these teams at the right time. So their run includes a win against Burton, Cambridge have beaten 5-1, MK Dons, Forest Green, Oxford. These are teams struggling, bad teams, or teams that are just losing their way and in a bit of turmoil. So what do we need? We need a team that is struggling and someone who is kind of prime for the picking, really, and that's Port Vale. Spurred on, by the way, some absolute injustice in midweek. I backed Port Vale in play, and I wasn't watching the game, and I saw they had a man sent off and missed a penalty, and I was already annoyed, and then I saw what actually happened, and if you haven't seen it, dig it out on social media or YouTube, because it's an absolute scam. It's an absolute scam. That referee deserves to sit the week out, I think. But anyway, that result means that they haven't won in the last 5. And yeah, they've not been playing that many poor teams, I think it's fair to say. They've played a lot of the good sides and come unstuck. So I think a Shrewsbury team kind of flying high should have enough to beat Port Vale. And 2.37 for a team that's won as many games as Shrewsbury have in a row. I think it's worth taking whilst we can, because I think they'll come unstuck soon.
Yep, I like it. And kind of similar reasons for why I'm going to pick Barnsley to win at home to Cambridge, really. Barnsley are a short price, 1.44, so we won't dwell on them too much. But yeah, they've got a good home record. They've won 5 of the last 6 games they've played at Oakwell. And they're facing a Cambridge side who are really struggling at the moment, low on confidence, poor form. They've lost 5 of the last 6 games in the league away from home. So they're poor travellers. And Barnsley have done that Shrewsbury thing from looking at their recent results at home. They're knocking off all the sides towards the bottom of the league who I guess you'd expect them to be beaten. So that their 5 wins that they've got in the last 6 at home, they've come against Forest Green, Milton Keynes, Burton Albion, Fleetwood, and Accrington. So they're all teams down there in the league, similar to the opposition that Shrewsbury have played. And yeah, Barnsley, like Shrewsbury, have won them all. And again, it's a similar opposition this weekend in Cambridge. And I expect they'll do the business, but it's a short price at 1.44.
Charlton Athletic up next, 1.90. They're playing Fleetwood Town. Fleetwood coming off a big cup set. 2 good results, really, to be fair to them. Draw away at Sheffield Wednesday and then a home win to dump Wednesday out the cup. Mm-hmm. But I do feel like these kind of teams crop up every year where they're absolutely bloody hopeless in the league, and then they just pull it together for the cup matches somehow.
Yeah.
Because those 2 results I'm looking are sandwiched in between four losses, where they've really struggled against a lot of teams, to be honest with you. I think Fleetwood are capable of getting a result. I'm looking down at their recent results, minus the Wednesday thing. They beat QPR in the FA Cup as well. They beat Shrewsbury, who I just mentioned are on a good run. But then I'm looking a bit closer. They lost against Portsmouth. John Messina, I think that might have been his first game, something like that. They lost against Oxford, who are just absolutely in a tailspin at the moment. They've struggled against other sides in the league. They have failed to get anything out of Accrington Stanley, Forest Green Rovers. We're going back a little bit. They're definitely capable. But I have 3 words for you, Tom, that I want you to remember.
Yeah.
Jezeren Raksaki.
Okay. Jezeren Raksaki.
I'm in love. I have a new League One love child. And I've been watching some League One stuff, just whilst I'm working. And I feel like every weekend there was this winger, and I was watching him, and I was like, bloody hell, like he looks way too good for League One. Done a bit of digging. He's a Crystal Palace loanee, a winger. Um, he is 20 years old. He's got 8 goals in 25 appearances. He's their top scorer, Charlton. Apparently, they fended off a bit of loan interest in the champ to keep him for the rest of the season. He is absolute dynamite. And yeah, I just thought I'd point that out because he's a huge threat, especially with Blackett Taylor, who, is a kind of standard League One winger, but, deserves a bit of credit. On the other flank, I think Charlton should have enough here at 1.9 to get a win.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that one. I just have one more thing to look at, and it's in the game that is Ipswich against Sheffield Wednesday. So big clash towards the top of League One, and it's just for Ipswich to keep a clean sheet. No, is the bet. The price for that is 1.44. They've not kept a clean sheet for 17 consecutive games against Sheffield Wednesday, and that's your stat, and that's why it's not going to happen again this weekend.
Yeah, I really don't know what's gone on at Ipswich, to be honest with you. They've just started derailing a bit, haven't they? They've spent the most money, probably got the best squad maybe on paper. I don't know. Something's going on.
Yeah.
Something's going on.
Yeah. They've got a wealth of attacking talent, especially for League One level.
Bit weird.
Yeah. League Two then, shall we?
I mean, if we have to, then we can. League Two is just the toughest league, I feel like, every week.
It is tough. There's a couple that I like.
There's one or two. All right, go on. You go first.
Right, we'll start with I like Colchester away at Grimsby. And it's a big price for Colchester here. So 3.8 for them to get the victory this weekend. Basically, they're on a good run of form, especially away from home. So they've won 4 of the last 7, only lost 1 of those games, which is good form for Colchester considering they were really struggling down at the bottom of the league for a long period of this season. But most impressively for me, they've won 4 consecutive away games in a row. They've beaten Gillingham, Harrogate, Rochdale and Hartlepool. So, yeah, considering they've won 4 in a row away from home, and Grimsby aren't particularly a home juggernaut. They've not played at home in the league since the 1st of January. And their home form is very patchy. If you look at it, it's literally very win 1, lose 1, draw 1, win 1, lose 1, draw 1. So I don't think Colchester have got anything to fear going away to Grimsby. It's not like Grimsby are in fantastic form. And yeah, I think it's a big price for Colchester. Will they win? I don't know. It's a bit of a punt. It's obviously a big price, but double chance at least, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it does scare me a bit, the whole kind of Luton double header. I suppose, I'm kind of contradicting myself with what I said about Fleetwood. Some good cup results. Maybe that will translate. Maybe it won't. I'm not sure. Salford, Tom, they're a big price this weekend if you're interested. They are priced at 3.40. They're against Tranmere, and on the surface, looks like a pretty tough game, tough-ish game. Tranmere in 15th, wedged in that kind of mid-table zone. But I was looking at Salford away from home, Tom. They've got the 3rd best record in the league away. 23 points yielded from 14 games. At home, they are pretty much mid-table. I think they got the 10th best home record, but on the road, they've been absolutely flying. And they've also got the 4th best attack in the league. Like, I just feel like they are quite potent. And then I have a look at Tranmere, and, they are less potent, should we say. That crazy defensive structure at the start of the season and bled into last season a bit has kind of deserted them. They've won just 1 in 5. Kane Hemmings, Tranmere's top scorer, with 8. He's obviously always a danger at this level, but Conor McAleny, Tom, 8 in 8. Just brought
Mm.
in from the cold, given a start, and scored 8 in 8 after scoring none in his first 8 games. It's absolutely crazy. He's on an absolute heater at the moment, and yeah, he gives me a lot of confidence. I cannot ignore Salford at that price, 3.4. That has real chances.
It's a big one. I like it. And then one more for me. Then it's both teams to score in the game between Mansfield and Gillingham. And there's two things that I like when we're doing the research: big prices and strong stats. This one's got both. So both teams to score is 2.1, which I thought was great because Mansfield have had 7 consecutive games both teams to score, and they don't tend to keep many clean sheets at home. So they're at home this weekend. They have kept just one clean sheet across all competitions at home since the 13th of September. Um, yeah, the last 7 games in a row, they've conceded. They've conceded in 9 of the last 10 at home, and yeah, I think there's some strong stats in the on the side of Mansfield conceding and having the capability to score. And Gillingham, they're unbeaten in their last 4 games, winning 3, including a 3-all draw. So yeah, they're scoring plenty and also are conceding as we've seen there as well. So yeah, for me, both teams to score. And I would also point out it wouldn't entirely surprise me if Gillingham managed to win this at 4.5.
Yes, 10 sign-ins in January. Um, they've completely reinvented themselves. They brought in some new technical staff and support for Neil Harris, and they've absolutely 180'd. And yeah, they're going to be a team to be getting with, as the bookies still price them up as a relegation side.
Mm.
The last one for me, anyway. I don't know if you have anything to add or if this is the last tip in League Two. One
Last
point
one.
1.8 Stevenage. Do you have Stevenage?
I didn't. I just thought it was a little bit short.
It is a
But
bit short. I'm trying to. They've only won one in their last 4 in all comps. I mean, one of those is a FA Cup game against Stoke. But I feel like they've been handling business at home. We're back in the team here that's won 12 home games, drew 1 and lost 1. Bradford haven't won in their last 4 games. And then when I take a little look at that, that includes a defeat at home to Rochdale, which is very alarming. A draw away at Wimbledon, alarming. A draw away at Stockport, decent, but that was 2-0-0s in a row where they didn't manage to score a goal. And then a draw at home against Mansfield, which is a decent result, I suppose, against a promotion rival.
mhm.
Uh, they've always been on the dartboard, haven't they? They're the classic dartboard team where you just cannot trust them. So who knows what will happen when you go against them, when you go for them. But I think Stevenage, they're going to get the rocket up the arse from good old Steve Evans, and
Yeah.
yeah, come home to victory. Quick little tidbit: did you see? There's a Twitter account called Slow Sports News, and
Yeah.
they got the Sky logo and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They posted the Steve Evans picture of when he was Leeds manager in like the early 2000s or mid 2000s, and it was
Yeah.
like breaking Leeds hire Steve Evans. I shit you not, I fell for it for about 3 seconds. Oh
I
bloody hell,
love.
that is mad! But I was excited. I was like, Steve in the
Yeah.
Prem, bloody hell, that's going to be class. So
I
yeah, I kind of fell
love
for it.
that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, well, that wraps up all the tips then for this weekend. Let's recap last week's treble. We'll give you this week's treble, and then we'll wrap up the show.
Yeah, so last week, disappointing really, because we had 2 winning legs that didn't concede. Bolton beat Cheltenham 1-0, and Middlesbrough beat Blackpool 3-0. But Carlisle, Tom, a team that I am very hot on this season, inexplicably lost at home to Harrogate 1-0. Scuppered the treble, 3.84 it was.
Couldn't believe that. Yeah, not the biggest paying treble that we've ever had, but I thought that was a lock to win, especially with the other 2 games that were I know Bolton scored quite late on, but yeah, I really thought of all the teams, Carlisle would be the one that we could rely on the most. But
Hey ho.
no. Anyway, on to bigger and better things this weekend, and I mean that literally because this is a big pay and treble this weekend. So we are going to go for Wolves away at Southampton. We're going to go for Sheffield United at home to Swansea, and then Shrewsbury at home to Port Vale. And all of those teams to win, you can currently get at 12.18. So £10 example stake would return you £121.80p.
It's a big one. It is a big one. But I'm
It is.
excited.
It is. And they're all teams that are on decent form against teams that are struggling.
Yeah.
So
It's normally a good recipe, I found.
yeah, I like it.
Cool. Let's flip to the worst game in the world, fantasy football. I'll be honest with you, forgot to do my team.
Ooh.
And that's not good in our league because I dropped 20 places to.
Do you know what's yeah? Do you know what's frustrating?
What's that?
The average is 37 points, it says.
Yeah,
I've got 72.
good for you.
I'm still only 201st in the league. I've gone up literally about 3 places.
Yeah, I think as this gets bigger and we get a bit more popular and all that, it's all good. Everything's great, apart from the fantasy football section. That it becomes impossible.
Yeah.
So credit to the top 10 in Michael Tomlinson, David Arias, Daniel O'Reilly, Neil McCloy, Danny Whiteman, Tola AW, Dan Pinsker, Chris Postings, Johan Ekstrom, and Pat Ravenhall. Still top. He has got a 26-point lead, so not much in fantasy football terms.
No, could still be overhauled. If you have enjoyed the show, guys, please leave us a rating or review wherever you listen to your podcast, and follow us on social media.
Yeah, T_FB podcast is the place to join for the social media stuff, midweek tips with Champions League coming round. That's going to be a big focus of ours. And then just general kind of betting discussion. It's a good little hub to be in, and that's where you can ask us for the Fantasy Football League code if you haven't joined the league. So yeah, T_FB podcast.
Yeah, please do get involved. Thanks for listening anyway, guys. Good luck for all the bets you put on this weekend, and we'll see you again same time next week. Bye for now.